Former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper officially announced his bid for the U.S. Senate just a week after withdrawing from the Democratic presidential primary. In a video released this week, Hickenlooper said he was not done fighting for the people of Colorado. Natasha, sometime in the olden days, back when we were following politics, people like Ken Salazar would jump into a Senate race and everybody else was out of the pool. John Hickenlooper jumped in the pool and everybody said, so what? And actually started splashing him a little bit. Is this going to be a bloody primary?
I think so. And I think that's what's interesting with his timing. Hickenlooper always takes time and pretty careful decisions about what he does and when he does it. In this case, he waited a week, which gave all of his opponents a lot of time to refine their messages from last week. And last week, the message was that this will not be a coronation. They only got more strong in their opinions in the coming days. So what we heard from candidates who are also running in the primary are saying that not only will this not be a coronation, but here are issues that we're going to hit him on. We're going to hit him on the environment, in particular his relationship with oil and gas companies and his record there. Also going to hit him on healthcare and a number of other things. But I think that's what's interesting is Hickenlooper jumps in the race. He takes up a lot of the conversation, but it sucks airtime away from all the other candidates. Now 5280 had a chance, and we actually sat down and talked to all the other candidates, including Cory Gardner, and had a chance to hear a little bit more about their campaigns. This group of candidates is so incredibly diverse. You have a scientist, you have a clinical psychologist, you have college professors, you have a lawyer, you have past legislators, you have a current state senator. You have just an incredibly diverse group of people who have a lot of different concerns about what's happening in Colorado. And I think that's where Colorado is going to win, because if these people continue to debate the way that they have just started to, and now with Hickenlooper's inclusion, we're just going to end up with a really robust conversation about where Colorado should go.
David, should Hickenlooper position himself as the moderate in this primary?
Yeah, I think it's hard to change the perception of what you are, and he made a big deal of appearing moderate, at least, throughout his political career before, so it would look all the more insincere if he tries something else. I remember when I was on a hiring committee for a school, and we had two really qualified teachers, liked them both for the job, and so I brought the issue to the board and said, they're both so good, what do you guys think? And one of the board members, who was a very successful businessman, had founded his own company, he said, what you do is you hire the person who wants the job the most, which we did, and that person worked out great. Here, Hickenlooper has said he doesn't want the job and he wouldn't be good at it. In contrast, you've got, as Natasha said, four past or present state legislators in the race. Two of them achieved high levels of excellence in the job in that they were chosen by their colleagues for leadership positions. Andrew Romanoff, the former Speaker of the House, and Alice Madden, one of the subordinate leaders in the party. The problem with those in the general election is, other than Hickenlooper, most of them are running so far to the left. Romanoff, who'd be such a strong legislator in capability, he's endorsed this Green New Deal to destroy Colorado's economy, and he's also for so-called Medicaid for all, which in fact will be Medicare for all, where you get a veterinary standard of care, where the federal government says, well, you're actually better off dead than us paying for your hip replacement now that you're 85 years old, but we can give you some free suicide pills, the Canadian model. So I think he'll be very strong in the primary, but maybe not as strong in the general election.
Eric, you wrote a piece for Colorado Politics that was urging Hickenlooper not to run. The other side of the voices in his ear. Will this be his Waterloo?
I don't know if it's his Waterloo. I'm shocked, amazed that he did not take my advice. I'm shocked that Chuck Schumer and all the other powers that be in Washington were more persuasive than yours truly. I think when he got out of the presidential race, yes, he waited a week to formally get into this race, but he was getting into it. I mean, he teed it up in that video that he exiting the presidential race. It was pretty clear what was happening. I guess I really have two main points of concern that I expressed in my column that ran a week ago. Number one is, and David referenced it, is he suited to this job? Is it really, yeah, but you can go to Washington and you can show up and you can vote and all the rest. But is it his sweet spot? And he had been on record so many times as saying this really wasn't his aptitude. Not only wouldn't he be terribly good at it, he didn't want to do it. Now he's spinning that very, good spin of we have a duty in this time of crisis and it's not time to leave the playing field and all the rest. But I think the question remains of, is this really what John Hickenlooper is cut out to do? And then the second point, and both David and Natasha referenced it, is there is a robust and I would argue highly talented field of Democrats who have been in this race for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, whatever it's been, while John Hickenlooper's been off traipsing around Iowa, New Hampshire, and a zillion other places. More power to John Hickenlooper for that quest. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. But it just strikes me as a little bit questionable to give that up and then come airdrop or parachute into this race when there is a lot of young talent. And this is a party that needs young talent at the national level. When the front runner is Joe Biden, when the Speaker of the House is Nancy Pelosi, all capable people. But when you have an opportunity, as the Democrats are presenting it this year, and Cory Gardner's vulnerable to any of these people. Yeah, Hickenlooper could beat Cory Gardner and probably will, but a lot of these others could beat Cory Gardner as well.
Noel, Hickenlooper jumps in. None of his opponents were scared. Should they be? This is still a guy who has yet to lose a race in Colorado.
Yeah, name recognition matters. I remember when I was a teenager, Nashville, Tennessee, the city council's almost the size of a mini legislature, and you got to vote for like 7 at-large candidates, and I maybe recognized 5, and there was an Elvis impersonator that ran, and I voted for him because I at least recognized Elvis Aaron Presley on the ballot. I think actually name recognition goes a long way when people feel obligated to vote and maybe haven't, know they want to vote Democratic, haven't really studied up on it, and like, I know that guy. So, yeah, I'd be scared. But if you read the satirical website, The Onion, they've had a lot of fun at Hickenlooper's expense. His next move will be Jefferson County Commission. They had an article this week, struggling Hickenlooper drops out of Colorado Senate race to run for Jefferson County Commission on the $2.30 he has left over from his Senate campaign. That was hilarious.